Woman in the Dunes was filmed in 1964 and was directed by Hiroshi Teshigahara. It's about an entomologist who takes a trip out to some unknown sand dunes one weekend so that he can contemplate his divorce. Doing so, he overstays his time and misses the last bus. A local offers him refuge in a hut that is down a sand ditch and can only be reached with a rope ladder. A woman whose family was killed by a sandstorm lives in the hut alone and spends every night shoveling sand into a bucket, which is then pulled up by a rope by the other villagers, or else her house will be swallowed by sand. When he wakes up the next morning, the ladder is gone, and he realizes that he's been caught in a trap. The woman states that this job is too much work for one woman. That's why he was chosen by the villagers to help her. This is symbolic of husband and wife companionship, and perhaps the lifestyle that goes along with living in a small apartment in a large city. This movie is also no doubt a commentary on the meaningless grind of working a 9-to-5 job every day. One that is as pointless as shoveling sand into a bucket, just to repeat it the next day, forever until you die. This also represents the entomologist's job in the city, waking up early, going to work, grading papers, waking up the next day. It's just mundane tasks over and over again. The film's purpose is to show you that even though life can seem meaningless, what matters is finding a reason to endure it all. The magic of this film is that it's about finding your voice, and that life is absurd. But we can find purpose through deciding how to respond to our situation. A common filmmaking technique is to zoom in on someone's face in order to convey emotion. The closer the camera comes to someone, the more emotion. It works on our instincts. Teshigahara does the same technique, except to a whole nother level. And if you have sensory issues to sand, then this movie might make you cringe. The scratching sounds of sand, along with close-ups of sweat-filled skin covered in sand, conveys high levels of discomfort and sensation that I've never seen a movie attaining before. This causes the viewer to feel the same sensation that characters in the film are feeling. Feelings of discomfort, frustration, and grossness. The sand is everywhere. Drips down from the ceiling, it's all over the floor. It's basically coming out of the movie and onto the audience. The entomologist is constantly shot through slats and staves, or framed through huts, frames, and apertures to stress his imprisonment, while the woman's face is shot in diagonal profile, which imparts it with vitality. This is clever filmmaking that's not seen anywhere else, and just one of many reasons why this movie is so special. The score gives a sense of paranoia, and it's done very well by the talented Takemitsu, who worked on other masterpieces such as Ran, Samurai Rebellion, Harakiri, and Quiet On. All great movies you should watch, by the way. This film is also similar to how I feel about Onibaba, in that the environment is so unique and dreamlike, that it's like a character in itself. The sand represents the worldview of having everything collapse and change around you, suddenly and randomly. The sand suddenly and unpredictably erupts and explodes, giving a sense of terror. Some shots are so incredible that the sand actually looks like water when it moves. But discomfort and terror isn't the only emotion Teshigahara can achieve with sand. It also becomes one of pleasure and erotica. Perhaps there's a name for this kind of fetish, though I'd rather not find out. It's also worth noting that for this film, Hiroshi Teshigahara became the first Japanese director to be nominated for an Oscar, later to be given to Akira Kurosawa. So this film is unique and impactful in more than enough ways to make it a classic. The incredible landscapes, the creative use of sand, the psychological sensation that's subjected on the audience through visuals and sound. Most important of all is that it's a message that we aren't alone in dealing with a job that we feel is tedious and non-productive. We're all in a pit of sand, unable to crawl out, because the sand will just break from under our feet. Life also rapidly changes like the rushing water of sand. Our only option is to stay and make the best of it. This is a truly special film that nothing else is like. And hopefully it won't get buried in the sand, never to be discovered by someone who will appreciate it. Thanks for watching.